I'm getting Footloose in the danger zone. Kenny Loggins was everywhere back in the day.
Back in those days, it was John Williams and Kenny Loggins.
Kenny
It was
Loggins.
the two guys making soundtracks, movie soundtracks, and yeah, that's all you knew about. But yeah, it seemed like in the 80s, every fucking movie had a Kenny Loggins soundtrack, like right in the back there, that you just knew, oh, that's Kenny Loggins. Never met the guy, but I know that's Kenny Loggins.
Well,
don't own a single album, but I know it's Kenny Loggins.
It was either Harold Faltermeyer and Kenny Loggins, or was somebody who sounded like them.
Right.
You see, you thinking it was Kenny Loggins, but no, it was just guys like in the background.
That's that yacht rock shit that I was just like, God damn, somebody stop this goddamn soundtrack that's been going on for a decade. Please.
I did with all Kenny Loggins.
Remove your Monday footwear.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I love this. I love this song in Caddyshack. But that was it. All right, I was done with it. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, co-host, you all right? Ain't nobody worried about you.
It was cool to sound like Kenny Loggins back then. You walking to McDonald's, I have a Big Mac.
Big Mac, give me a Big Mac.
You know what, man? We often get a response by people who sound like Kenny Loggins, because I think most of us in this room are people who have not seen the original 1984 Footloose. And tonight, I was telling people just casually, yeah, you know what? I'm interested in seeing this because I'm going in fresh. Fresh? What do you mean fresh? I say, well, I haven't seen the original. You what? Footloose? You gotta watch Footloose. What, man? Goddamn, sorry.
I would expect that more with any other movie besides Footloose. It's like telling somebody I've never seen Star Wars. You're like, what? How do you not go through life without seeing Star Wars? And tonight it was like that, yeah. Because I mean, I told somebody, look, I've never seen the original. What? Really? I'm like, yeah, really. And guess what? I don't wear a dress either. You know,
I can tell it was the Star Wars for women. Okay, because every girl I know who was like, a teenager at that time, those that are still alive, are obsessed with that fucking movie still, or like, oh, it's one of the greatest movies ever. It's one of my.
See, I thought that was Dirty Dancing.
Yeah, I was gonna say
what do I know?
And Dirty Dancing.
Yeah, that and
were,
Dirty Dancing.
Those were the two.
Yeah.
It's funny because Cyrus and I were over watching the thing, and suddenly I heard a big. You what? In our theater. I was like, where the hell's that come from?
That was somebody talking to us.
Yeah. Well, clearly, it was everyone in your theater saying that.
Yeah. Everybody just turning around. What?
Suddenly it's like
Get a rope.
invasion of the body snatchers in your theater.
I know.
They're all like pointing at you and going,
I was like, what? Yeah. I was like, look, I'm a robot. I don't have any fucking legs to get Footloose, all right? Leave me the fuck alone, all right? Sorry.
Yeah, man. And it was funny because that was, I mean, for those of you who never thought Kevin Bacon was young, because I never thought he was. I looked at pictures of him back in Footloose because he was the original star.
Yeah.
And he was the main lead in the original Footloose. And I was like, damn, he really was kind of young at one time.
shit,
It
man.
was like his breakout
he's in
performance,
Animal
right?
House.
He's in the first Friday the 13th.
That's
Yeah,
right.
he was. Yeah,
Is he
because I think
really?
Footloose
Yeah.
was Footloose like probably like his second or it was like
It's further down the line.
Yeah,
really?
yeah, way- yeah,
Shit.
yeah,
All
way
right.
further.
Yeah.
Wasn't he the one that got like shish kebab with another chick in the original Friday?
No, he got his spear through his neck.
I'm looking at this remake right here, and I'm glad. I'm just going to tell the people right now, y'all get the hell out of my face. I'm glad I went to this movie not having seen it before. I can go in fresh with the eyes of the children of today.
Yeah, I went in with a fresh young mind.
Yes, exactly. I'm like the kids of today who are going in and see it new. That way I feel like a more fair review of this film. And I'm happy to say that it sucks. No, this movie does.
What? You saying Kevin Bacon doesn't have the same moves anymore?
Yeah, Kevin Bacon is not in this.
Yeah, he's not in this.
Everything's better with Bacon.
They approached Kevin Bacon about playing a dad in this movie, and he told them to go fuck themselves.
He should have played the dad, but instead they got fucking
Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid. Yeah, there you go. I keep
They
forgetting
should
his
have gotten John Lithgow again, but they have him play it as the Trinity Killer this time.
No, this one, man, not having seen the original Footloose, I watched this and I still walked out of it saying like, why have I seen this before?
No, I mean, because it feels like an 80s film. I mean, the plot, it's like, I've never seen the original, obviously. I can say that over and over again. But watching, I felt like, okay, wow, I have seen this before. Because after Footloose, I'm sure there are plenty of movies that mimicked it afterwards where you have you have a town going against the kids. And the kids have to fight for their right to party. And that is the entire premise. And I'm like, okay, wow, you're not really changing much. And at the same time, I'm like sitting there like, wow, how is this premise working right now? Because this is fucking, this is 2011.
Well,
how is it that a town is able to outlaw dancing in this day and age? Really?
Actually, I think that's still the case in some places.
What?
Yeah.
No. Cyrus is right. I mean, it's from a guy who's from West Virginia. You listen to him.
Virginia.
Like, you only want to see his
And there are
difference
towns in Virginia where it's illegal.
but the thing is, those kids, they are not allowed to dance. but they do meth all day long.
I was about to say.
Seriously.
And that's how you keep them from fucking rebelling. You know?
They may not be
You get the video games and the meth out.
break dancing, but they're breaking bad. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I tell you, if you can't dance, what else you gonna do? You know, you got to have something to do. Let off some of that steam.
Might as well get fucked up.
Well, I tell you, it's funny because looking at this, I'm like, yeah, I have seen this before, but it's not so much like I've seen an 80s film before. I've seen this theme before. It's because this feels like a studio remake of something. I'm looking at it and I'm like, some of these scenes feel like they pale in comparison to something else. And if I hadn't even known that there was a movie called Footloose and knowing how remake crazy Hollywood is today, I would have asked, is this a remake of something? And you ask like, hey, what in 2011, do we, they got places where kids can't dance? I don't know if you do or not. I'm sure you do. You have to in some of these conservative states.
Iraq.
Cities, yeah.
Now, that would have been a movie for you. Right?
Yeah, I know. Set it in Iraq. All right?
Yeah, you talk
Update
about
that shit.
Footloose.
Really update it.
Except that shit would have ended with some beheadings.
Well, yeah, they talking about kick off your Sunday shoes, kicking them off right at your head, along with a few rocks and stones.
That foot would be loose, definitely. It'd be hanging on the fucking house of the parents who used to have that kid in their lives.
Shit.
Yeah.
Your bowels being loose and they hang your ass from the tree. But man, come on, I ain't so bad. But I look at this, I'm like, okay, one of the reasons that I can see this working today is because, I mean, it's been a while since we need this generation needs a good youth rebellion movie. One that's not crazy. Like, I'm not talking about like Natural Born Killers, because we're so cynical today. We talk about youth rebelling. We're talking about go kill your mom and get on the road trip and kill some other people. It's like,
that's kind of what white teenagers do these days.
These days, yeah, I'll go shoot up the school or something. No, we need to show these kids alternatives to like going against
crunk.
Yeah, there are. There are alternatives to getting crunk besides murdering people. You're not putting on a trench coat and shooting people. You don't have to do that. I mean, I look at like the 50s. There were a lot of those fun anti-authority movies. Beach movies. You adults just don't know how to have fun. And in the 80s, we had a lot of movies like that. Especially with something like, that whole thing of Save the Youth Center came from like Breakin'.
Breakin'.
You can do it in a musical kind of way. So I'm like, this is cool. Now, I wish they could have done it in a more original way. But, whatever. They made this remake. I'm so sick of remakes today. I've been beat to submission. I'm like, okay, you're going to do it. Can you just make a good film?
All right, here's the thing. None of us in this room have seen the original.
I've seen the original. Yeah, several times. My little sister was obsessed with that fucking movie. We had to watch it.
Why am I not surprised?
Yeah, I know.
And technically,
shocking.
I was at a church lock-in where this is a true story. I was at a church lock-in. I know, hard to believe. And hey, you know what? That's the only way you're going to get me to church. You lock me in. Shit, I was trying to get loose. Let me out. But
I saw this movie. It was Prince of Darkness. John Carpenter. That's all. You were the anti-god.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
No, I was at a church lock-in and they showed that movie like around 10 o'clock, midnight. And again, true story, the reason why I wasn't paying attention to that movie is because I was all up on some girl trying to like get her to pay attention. Unfortunately, she was watching the fucking movie.
I was about to say, how true is that? Are you sure the girl just wasn't really paying attention to the movie? And you're like scratching at her back going,
He was
hey,
just
baby.
looking for something loose.
I was about to get dick loose. Well, I was like 11 years old. I was just, the girl she wouldn't have painted, somebody could have painted the wall and she would have watched the wall instead of like paying attention to me. But yeah, I figured why not.
So they showed it at church lock-in in the movie. I mean, like I said, I haven't seen it, but isn't it like saying like, well, the preacher is the guy who's wrong?
Well, like, yeah, the idea is that the preacher father of the main girl in it is like, okay, I mean, he seems like he's a nice enough, he's not like a total tyrant or anything. He's got nice qualities to him, but he's like, his religion says dancing and celebrating and that sort of thing is totally wrong.
Yeah.
But
That's
here
what
comes
colored
young
folk
Kevin
do.
Bacon, he can't stop himself. Motherfucker gotta dance, right? He's just a dancing fool. He's dancing in an abandoned warehouse with nobody around. He's just going crazy. I mean, what are you gonna do? Kenny Loggins is playing.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Well, guess
do
what?
a
It's the
bunch of
same goddamn
acrobatics.
plot here. It's the
Right.
same. It's a preacher who you can't really like root against. You're not really like thinking, man, this guy is just an awful guy who is a fucking Nazi from hell, just restricting kids to like stop dancing.
Well, what happens is, and I don't know if this happens in the original, but you have this town called Beaumont, and it opens up.
Wait, Beaumont, Texas?
No, that's the thing. They took out the EU and put in an O. It's Beaumont, and it's West Virginia.
Oh, it is West Virginia.
It really is West
See,
Virginia.
Cyrus, I told you.
Yeah, so here.
Doesn't mean I'm from West Virginia.
I bet you can see Cyrus's house in that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
No, here you got a town called Beaumont in West Virginia, and the movie opens up with these kids. I mean, it's happy. It's like these kids are dancing. The camera is right on their feet. They're just having a good time. Plus, you see them just down in beer from a keg and all this kind of stuff. And the kids get in the car. They're driving down the street, and it's funny because right when they hit that line, Footloose, that kid the main kid driving turns over to kiss his girlfriend, and he looks up and you hear, bye-bye, and it's like, they run dead into like a Mack truck.
Damn.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I missed that part.
Killed.
Kenny Loggins killed these kids, man. Shit, when they talking about Footloose, you saw a foot flying out the window somewhere. But
Where was that truck back in my day?
yeah, man. Turns out, though, that all 5 of those kids died. One of those kids happened to be the kid of the preacher of the town, played by Dennis Quaid, and his wife, Andy McDowell. And he says, you know what? Fun killed these kids. So, therefore, we are outlawing dancing for kids under 18. We're outlawing public get-togethers where kids dance. Of course, there's no influence of alcohol or drugs that would be tolerated. Basically, the whole town becomes the Empire from Star Wars after that happens. I mean, these kids start dancing.
It's on lockdown.
Yeah, stormtroopers burst in and start shooting lasers and shit. So you always got to have that one troublemaker, man. It's and what was the guy's name in the first one? Ren McCormick. That's trouble with a name like Ren. Ren McCormick. His
Don't touch that, you fool. It's a history eraser button.
Is it Ren or Ray?
Ren.
Oh, it was Ren?
Ren
Okay.
and Stimpy. Yeah.
Okay.
You know how much trouble an angry Ren was, so they should have known this kid came into town.
Idiot.
Do not covet my dancing shoes.
You say I can't dance?
I know I have space, man.
But he comes into town. His mom has just died. He's going in to stay with his aunt and his uncle, and he's from Boston. And
Boston.
Yeah, but everybody's asking why you, and people look at him. They say, "Why you talk funny?" It's like, you talk funny too. What you talking about? But yeah, he comes into town and he doesn't really want to start any trouble, but he can't understand these backward ways. I mean, he's coming in keeping to himself, but first he gets introduced to the preacher's daughter, who's already kind of wild. I mean, she's a preacher's daughter. What you
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
do?
you know how
She's a slut.
She's a hoe. She's
yeah.
I mean, I don't
She's a
even know
town
what-
whore. Yeah.
I mean,
That was your problem, Corey, at the lock-in. You were with the wrong girl. You should have been going after the preacher's daughter.
if I had known then what I know now, that the
If you had been watching the movie, you would have known.
I know if I look at that movie, then like a dummy's head, I just would have turned my head for the preacher's daughter. Hey,
I mean, it would have solved a lot of your problems.
yeah, but yeah, no, she's she's dressing up in mini skirts and boots and cleavage hanging all out, but the preacher can't see it. And he's the first one that she's introduced to him. That's the first person he gets to know in town. And then right after that, he gets to know the town bullies. And then right after that, he gets to know some of the hicks in town who are cool with him but just can't understand his big city ways. I mean, what's a boy gonna do in a backwards town like this?
Dance.
He has to let off steam and dance. And of course, with him dancing, that just brings up all kind of trouble again. Now, a lot of people are saying that, it's one thing to make this remake and replace an icon like Kevin Bacon, but it's another to put a guy in that no one has hardly heard about. I'm looking at the guy's name right now. The actor's name, Kenny Wormald. It ring a bell?
No.
The crickets know.
That was actually a decent trivia question. I'm like, wow, tell me. What's
Is
the
he
answer?
a dancer that's been in any one of these other dance movies?
Yeah, was he in
Come out?
Step Up
I doubt it.
3, 1, 2, 1, 3, 3?
Really, I have not seen the guy in anything. I mean, he was in Turn It Up, and he, if you want, you might have seen him in movies like You Got Served.
Okay.
And,
Wow.
Oh,
a long
okay.
time
Yeah,
ago.
and Turn It Up, but he's probably one of the guys in the
Wait,
background.
is he black?
No, he's white.
No.
Of course, he ain't black. Black people for the background in this movie.
I'm just saying.
They don't allow black people in this town.
Cedric the Entertainer didn't produce this movie.
This ain't a Tyler Perry production. No, actually, there are black people in this town, but most of them are, their background, except for that one.
I mean, there are a lot of black people. Don't. I was like, wow, there's a shitload. There's a scene. There's like actually several scenes where they're having a dance, and you see all these black kids filtering in, and you see the two main stars. You're like, Wait a minute, are you sure Tyler Perry didn't fucking
Well,
produce
that's
it?
because somebody had to do the catering. Come
Yeah,
on.
they show a close up of the black people coming in and they do a pull out and all the furniture and shit.
So it's a town where dance is outlawed, but it's full of black people. This is science fiction.
well,
That's exactly what I was thinking.
But this kid in the movie, man, I don't know how old he is. I mean, you just get the impression that these kids are older than high school students. But he comes in, I mean, he carries this movie pretty well, and considering that they wanted to originally have Zac Efron in the role. I don't know what problems they ran into, and I was thinking like, okay, this movie needed a name like that because they're not really giving you any other big stars in here, and the stars that are in here are the people who are older, and even the bigger stars have to like compete with the people who were in the original movie, like Dennis Quaid. Everybody, I keep hearing people say, "Well, he's no John Lithgow in the original."
Well, with Zac Efron, I mean, everyone would immediately think about High School Musical, and I guarantee you that would be a big turnoff. Even though Footloose was